What's up, y'all? TBrown31 here with JaboctheGreat. Once again, we're back with another episode of The Last Word, and we're back with another episode of This Week in the NBA for March 12th, 2024. So, just go ahead and get straight into things. First thing we're going to talk about, Lakers and the Bucks. So, this game we talked about a couple of times last week. We were talking before the show started. We didn't want to make this the Bucks and Lakers episode or the Bucks and Lakers podcast here, but pretty big game. We were talking. I said this would be a litmus test for the Lakers. Then we found out that Braun wasn't playing. I was kind of depressed, but doesn't matter though. The Lakers get a 1-point win in this game, despite 34 points from Giannis, 28 from Dame, 44 points from D'Lo. He finally loaded once again. He's been playing pretty well, but sometimes he loads and deloads. This time he fully loaded, 44, 6 and 9. Really good game. AD with 22 and 13. So, in the absence of LeBron James, again, we see this again. We talked about this a lot. Even in games where you expect teams to lose against pretty good teams. I mean, we have the Bucks last week against the Clippers. Like, you would think, oh, Giannis isn't playing, they'll be screwed. The Clippers, they've got most of their guys, their top guys. They come out and get a win. So we see this a lot in the NBA. Guys, I don't want to say lesser tier, but obviously not your stars. D'Lo, great player, but he's not your top guy. He's not LeBron. He's not AD. Still a pretty good player. He came out, he stepped up, put up darn near 50 points, led the team to a great win. And I'm not going to act like this is a statement win for sure, but it's just kind of it's just weird. The Lakers, they've been kind of weird pretty much all season, again hovering around that 8, 9, 10 spot along with the Warriors and Mavs. So it proved to me that the Lakers can compete with these teams. It was a litmus test for me, I would say. Even without LeBron, I just don't know how consistent they can be, but I can absolutely give them credit for how well they played against your team, who they've been kind of weird. They had that great run after the All-Star break and then some weird wins and losses over the past few games. I mean, how are you kind of feeling about it?
Yeah, I mean, we had a tough stretch. I figured it was going to be a bit of a rough pathway. Getting the Lakers without LeBron felt like, I think I said on the episode, maybe a little bit of a trap game. A lot of players, sometimes teams really show up without their best player there. I was just on the positive end of that when the Bucks played the Clippers the first time last week, and we're able to pull off a win without Giannis. And so then we come off a big loss to the Warriors and then get the Lakers, and we keep it kind of pretty close, but it wasn't close in the beginning either. The Lakers started out probably kind of a little better than we did. We were able to pull it in, but D'Lo clearly had other plans. 44 from him. I think he said that he hears all the disrespect and that turns him into the killer that we see today. Crazy line, but I mean, right now it's pretty correct. He's been on a roll to an unfortunate loss. One that I was like, man, we really could have had that one. Didn't play our worst game, but the big thing we've had since Doc has been here, at the very least, is that our defense has been good. And so to turn around and allow 123, even for, I guess, modern NBA standards, is kind of, outside of the range of what Doc's had our defense doing. So it's a little unfortunate. But it's just, D'Lo's going to get 44 and AD gets 22 in the same game, then I guess, and Austin Reeves gets 20, we probably got to lose. That's too many things are coming together there. It'd just be horrible. I mean, we did get 30 and 30 from Giannis and Dame. Got another decent game out of Bobby Portis. The worst thing here for me as a Bucks fan is that Pat Connaughton actually got 17 points and we lost. So we threw away a game where he finally woke up and remembered that he's an NBA player. So that's a little rough. But he was great. He was great in our 2021 playoff run. He's been decent since then. He just has regular season games where he's not really out there. So it was good to see him be out there playing well. Unfortunate that we end up on a loss, and a crazy loss at that, as Dame got blocked on a game winner attempt by Spencer Dinwiddie, who we talked about on the show. Said, not the most impactful pickup for the Lakers. Both of us said that. Maybe a little worse for me to say it, considering he turned around. He gets a massive block on Dame. Stayed in the air for like 5 seconds, it felt like, to just hang up there and get that ball, stop the fadeaway step back jumper, and put us to bed on that one. So great game for the Lakers. Reminder that even without LeBron, that's still an NBA team. They're a dangerous team, but not one that I was super super worried about. But it is nice, I think, as somebody who obviously I'm not a Lakers fan, but I like LeBron, and it is nice to think about the Western playoffs, knowing that LeBron's team is alive and they do still play basketball. Because he has some issues throughout the season where his team just kind of like die. D'Lo got really angry around the trade rumor time and has stayed pretty hot since. So I hope for the Lakers' sense and for the enjoyability of the Western playoffs that the Lakers kind of stay like this behind Bron. They have been pretty good here recently. They've on a 2-game win streak now, 6-4 in their last 10. So we'll cover them a little more in depth here in just a second. But maybe one of the reasons I didn't feel so bad about the Lakers loss. I mean, we lose on a blocked game winner, and then turn around and beat the Clippers again. This time we have Giannis in the game, so beat them without Giannis a few days ago. Actually, I think it was a bigger win than that one. This one we come up 124-117. It's a good game for the Bucks. Again, the Clippers allowed 40 from Dame in the first game, and then they got 35 from Dame in this one, 34 from Giannis, and this one positively. Malik Beasley stepped up, plus 20. I don't usually talk about plus minus, but plus 20 is pretty good, especially in a game where you didn't win by anywhere near 20. Giannis was plus 19, and he gets 17 points in. 4 for 9 from the 3-point line, 6 for 11 overall. Good to see Malik play well. Clippers are a tough team. Only person on that team to get above 20 though in that one was Norman Powell. So that's a nice one. Now they didn't have Kawhi in this one, but we beat them without Giannis, so I'm not gonna take that one without as too much of an excuse. But that probably helped the spirit of like, oh, well, here we go, we're starting a losing streak out in the West, and we were able to get it back against the Clippers. So I'll take that one. That was a bit of a positive. But I don't know if you have any thoughts on that game. You can definitely share. But obviously, another big topic for this past week is that the Lakers have been on a roll. So you can diverge into whichever one you'd like to.
Yeah, I mean, for the Clippers, like, I guess I should have shut up because every time I say something about the Clippers, they do the exact opposite. I mean, early in the season after the James Harden trade, when things weren't working out originally, I said, "Hey man, what's up with the Clippers? Like, they might have to blow this whole thing up." And they go on a run, and then I try to actually give them credit by saying, they've been the better LA team this year. And then the Lakers turn around and beat them again, and then they lose 2 straight games. Not in consecutive order, obviously, but they lose 2 games in a row against the Bucks. With Giannis, without Giannis, and like I said, Kawhi wasn't playing, but still, I mean, they just lost to the Bucks without Giannis. So I mean, you can go through every single game in the NBA and be like, oh, they didn't have this guy. I mean, Joel Embiid hasn't played in a month and some change, and the
We haven't
Sixers are
had Chris
still.
Middleton in a month.
Yeah, I
So.
mean, you can go through the list of like every single team. I mean, Karl Anthony Towns is going to be out for the Timberwolves now for a while. So I mean, you can do this for literally every team. So I don't know if it's really. I don't think it's not really worth having a discussion. And I like Kawhi, and I respect what the Clippers have done, but I just don't think it's really worth having a discussion every single time we have a game saying, "Hey, this person was out." We just got to take it for what it is. So, with that being said, the Lakers definitely, again, they've been kind of weird, but they are on a 2-game winning streak, like you said. Not the biggest winning streaks in the West, though. I mean, you've got the Thunder, the Nuggets, Pelicans, and Mavs all on a 3 or 4-game winning streak right now. So all these teams pretty hot. Mavericks, of course, they're only 1 game ahead, or a game and a half, I guess you should say, over the Lakers, who are just 1 game ahead of the Warriors for that last play-in spot. And things up at the top of the West with OKC and the Nuggets. The Nuggets are simply half a game behind the Thunder. So I mean, we've been talking about this all season. There's a clear divide, from 10 to 11 with the Warriors and the Rockets. So those bottom 5 teams, I mean, it's a pretty clear difference there. But you could talk about the teams that we think are probably going to win the championship, like who we think have the best chance. Like I would right now, I would still give it to the Nuggets, but you look top to bottom from 1 to 10. I mean, I give really any of these teams a chance. Like, I think experience might win out, for some of these older teams. But West is incredibly competitive right now. Not to say that the East isn't, but to me in the East, it's really Boston and Milwaukee. And I respect the Cavs. I respect the Knicks, what they've done, especially the Magic too. But to me, it's a two-team race in the East compared to the West. Even with my favorite being the Nuggets, like I think it's incredibly possible that you get anybody within that group that might go on a run. So it's really good out there in the West. On the East, on the other hand, I mean, we had a game the other day that was 79-73 for the Sixers. I mean, that was real basketball out there being played. And even the Wizards, they snapped their losing streak. They're actually on a 2-game win streak. And then the Pistons, they win another game. So lot of weirdness out there in the East compared to the West. But I want to kind of get your thoughts on it. How are you right now? Who would you say like would be the top title contenders in the Western Conference?
Western Conference is tough, and it's one thing. A little bit ago in the season, I definitely would have looked at the Clippers very seriously. I think I still do. But one thing I realized, especially as we're talking, we got some stuff written down, of course, to guide us. But I'm looking at the standings as you're talking about those win streaks, and I realized how close the Pelicans and Suns were to the Clippers, and I really think it's really hard to pick one of those guys out west. But I do think, just based on consistency, the Thunder have been consistent. But I don't think they've been consistent in a very good regular season young team kind of way. The Nuggets, to me, right now look like they could steamroll their way to the playoffs. They have started to catch fire. Nikola Jokic is looking really good. They're 9-1 in their last 10. It's a little scarier to me than the Thunder being hot right now, because the Nuggets have that playoff experience. And so I think we have a lot of potential for fun in the Western playoffs, right? Like I think the Timberwolves, Clippers, Pelicans, Suns, Kings, Mavericks, even Lakers and Warriors, if they can get in there, I think those are all teams that are going to be really fun to watch in 7-game series. I don't really see many of these teams getting swept. So I think that's a positive for entertainment purposes. One of the things I said last year was that I thought the Timberwolves were a really good matchup to stop the Nuggets, and right now it would take a miracle for them to match up. I think the Timberwolves would have to kind of get the perfect run to get back to them. But I think this is a really fun Western Conference. But to me, I think the Nuggets look good. I would probably, I mean, from those top teams for sure, I'd maybe take the Clippers or Timberwolves over the Thunder. I like the Thunder. They're playing really good basketball. It's hard to deny that they're good defensively and good offensively. I'm just not sure how much I trust the playoff experience when it comes to getting past a team like the Nuggets. And the Timberwolves are the same. That playoff experience isn't going to be that good as a team like the Thunder, as a team like the Nuggets, the Clippers. You got the Suns that got some experience out of them now. You got the Lakers and Warriors, of course, that have got a pretty good amount of experience. So I think the Nuggets right now are going to be up there for me, and then probably the Clippers after that, if they can kind of get it together and stay healthy. And then in the East, I think it's a little more cut and dry. I would say the Celtics, Bucks seem like the top two. Sixers, if they get healthy, could be good. The Heat are always scary just because of the Heat. I'm going to give them the same kind of treatment as the Lakers. They're down there, but they could easily get up there. And the Cavs give me the same type of stuff as the Thunder right now. A good team playing really good basketball on both ends of the ball, but I'm not sure how much this is going to last when they get to the playoffs and they go up against a more experienced playoff team like the Celtics or Bucks. So, but I think it's fun. I think this is a very fun year for the NBA. So, yeah. From there, speaking of fun, got some fun matchups coming in to the next parts of the week here. Starting tonight, we have one that should still be fun despite the injuries that are going on both teams. I'm not sure entirely on Kawhi and Rudy Gobert's healthiness, but tonight we will get the Clippers and the Timberwolves. That's a big matchup there. Lord, the Clippers are trying to stay up in that kind of top 4 bracket. The Pelicans are on a 4-game win streak. They're right behind them. Obviously, the Clippers need to grab every win they can to keep that kind of 2-game gap between them, because they're on a 2-game losing streak, which is going to help. It's going to help the Pelicans overtake them. Not that a whole lot changes based on that particular playoff spot there, but the Clippers are going to need that win. Timberwolves looking to stay on despite the cat problems. I think that both of these teams, even when they have some key injuries, they're both still pretty good, gritty defensive teams that play good basketball. Matter of fact, speaking of defensive games, they just had like an 89-88 game against each other last week. So it'd be interesting. I don't know. Do you think we'll get that again, especially with the absence of Cat, potentially the absence of Rudy, and the absence of Kawhi? Maybe. I think if Rudy is out, then the Clippers actually could get to scoring. I don't think we'll get an 88-89 kind of game. But if Rudy's in, I think we could maybe get another one of those battles.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like, if you make the argument that Rudy's going to be out, then I mean, you would assume that the Clippers would probably be scoring a little bit more. So in that sense, probably not, but maybe. Um, but what really catches my eye in particular about these games coming up this week, especially Wednesday, right? Warriors, Mavs, Lakers, Kings. Now all of these teams are in that playing group. So obviously in the first round, if it were to stay where we are now, you get Kings, Mavs first, Lakers, Warriors first. So not exact matchups, but things could shift. These teams are all within, from 7 to 10 with the Kings and Warriors, 2.5 spots, or 2.5 games, I should say, from that 7 to 10 spot. So a lot can move around in that little pocket there. And again, the Kings are right there under the Suns. The Suns are right there under the Pelicans, and they're right under the Clippers. So I think the most interesting part of this is just that we could possibly see these matchups in the playing round. And obviously, those are single elimination. Whoever that 9-10 is, like, you're done if you lose. So kind of, interesting little storyline there with the possible playing, rematches we might see from these games. And of course, finals rematch Denver and Miami. That's definitely going to be fun to watch. Um, Another game though, Thursday, you got the Suns and Boston Celtics. Like you said, if the Suns, we know they've got playoff experience, that specific team, of course, and I know it's a lot different than what it was when they played against the Bucks in that finals a few years ago. But they've got guys that have had playoff experience. D Book obviously was there on that team. KD's been to multiple finals. They've got guys with playoff experience, deep playoff experience. You got Frank Vogel out there. So, I mean, they've got guys that know how to make a run. Now, my only thing is, will that happen? Maybe it depends on who they play. I don't know. But it is hard for me to just straight up count out a team that does have KD leading the way along with Bradley Beal and D Book. So, yeah, this might be a matchup. Maybe you might see a Western or Eastern Conference final matchup if Joel Embiid gets healthy, like you said, with the Sixers and the Bucks. So entirely possible. And you got two young studs going up against each other. You got the Mavs and the Thunder. And like you've eloquently noted here, MVP candidate battle. I know that's like very heated on Twitter right now with Luca and SGA.
Yeah, don't say SGA on Twitter right now.
Yeah, oh my God. I mean, it's a little ridiculous, but definitely big matchup there. So, yeah, I'm excited. Another pretty good week of games, which, out of Thursday, I would say to me, biggest one would be Phoenix, Boston. And then probably I would say Warriors and Mavs on Wednesday out of those two.
Yeah, I think for the upcoming games on Wednesday and Thursday, we got some big ones. Denver, Miami is always a fun one. They just played, and Denver kind of rolled for sure. So I think I would have to say that the Warriors and Mavs are going to be a big one. I think the Lakers and Kings should be pretty fun, but Warriors and Mavs feels like it's going to have a lot of energy going on in that one. And Thursday, that Phoenix Boston game had a lot going on. I don't think that was the game where Nurkic grabbed 31 rebounds, but there were some big performances from the Suns, and it just never felt like the performances got anywhere. The Celtics just stayed in pretty good control throughout that game. So I think that one would be fun to see it. For the Suns, see if they can get a little bit of their get back on that one. And then, I mean, the other two games have pretty big implications that we've noted here. I mean, the Sixers and Bucks are going to be fun, but the Sixers have been fun because they somehow keep doing things despite the lack of Joel Embiid. They occasionally rise to the occasion, and their players go crazy and they put up an insane performance. They occasionally run around and do cardio for a little while, and it doesn't work out. It just kind of depends on which role players for the Sixers step up, or they do a mixture of that and they score 79 points and win a basketball game. So I think it's got an entertainment factor, but I don't think it's the biggest game. And then the Mavericks and Kings are gonna, Mavericks and Thunder is gonna be a big game Thursday. I would maybe take that one over the Phoenix Boston one, but I just feel like the Phoenix Boston one maybe because the Celtics are so high above the league that it's just interesting anytime they step on to see if somebody can bring them down and hold them down to a losing streak or start one for them. I guess in this case, Phoenix gave them their win streak back. So I think I'm good with Phoenix and Boston that one as well. But kind of fun game up until Friday, and of course, when Friday comes, we'll give you a look at these games and look ahead from there too.